At the corner of Oklahoma and Main Street in Hennessey, Oklahoma, there's a historic building once known as the Fabric Shop. Everything changed when this became Prairie Quilt. We're going to take you behind the scenes in this episode of We're Going In. Randa Parrish grew up in Fort Scott, Kansas, where at a very young age learned to sew from her mother.
But I knew nothing about quilting until I moved to Wisconsin. And I got to know a lot of Amish ladies, and they taught me how to quilt.
After recovering from a brain tumor, Randa was wanting to create a simple little business.
I wanted a shop where I could run it, just me. I did not want any employee. I went into Lois Jones, who had this little store that was just this one room. I said, I'm going to open up a small store. I'm not going to carry the same kind of fabrics. And she said, buy me out. I'm almost 80 and I don't know how to close. So that's how I started my little shop. And I named it Prairie Quilt because we are on the prairie. It is flat here.
When word got out about Randa's plans, there was some skepticism.
A lady who has a small business in town looked at me very sincerely, and she was serious when she said it, and she said, you're not planning on making a living out of that store, are you? Now, 18 years later, we have 29 employees. Our real thrust is education, entertainment, and inspiration.
Randa and her staff are wizards at marketing. This creates a significant economic impact in Hennessey. Several times a year, tour buses from out of state arrive at the store.
They come looking for new and different things, and that's what we try to offer them, is some things that they would not find in their hometown.
A big source of revenue comes from the retreats that bring large groups to town for several days.
Our retreats consist of up to 32 spaces, and we have two different kinds of retreats. We have sewing retreats, and then we also have embroidery, machine embroidery only. All of our retreaters do go out to eat. They go across the street and may have a glass of wine in the evening. They all get gas here. All of them go to Sonic. There is quite another side to the production of revenue that comes from out of city and even some out of state.
Over the years, the business grew and needed more space. The first edition was the second floor.
I never ever thought we would open the upstairs. It had been closed for decades, but once we got the roof replaced, then we did finally open the upstairs.
Next came the Annex Building behind the main store.
That building was initially owned by the city. They were going to knock it down for a parking lot. It was in terrible shape. The building is perfect for big events and for sewing retreat.
When the pharmacy next door came available, Randa jumped at the opportunity.
I had to have that building because I had a vision. We wanted to cut out a 40-foot opening.
The opening between the two buildings turned into a major engineering task.
The brick turned to dust. It started crumbling.
Steel beams had to be installed and new concrete footings had to be created to support the 20-foot opening. This new addition is the grand showroom for the complete line of sewing, long arm, and embroidery machines. In just a few days, Randa's vision will be complete when Prairie Quilt will hold the grand opening of its new showroom. Well, there you have it. From a tiny sewing shop to the largest quilt shop in Oklahoma, Prairie Quilt is always surprising us with new innovations and additions. I'm Jack Quirk, and we'll see you on the next episode of
We're Going In!